Our thank you. Our final presenter of this session is Ian Gandel, Non-Executive Director at Australian Strategic Minerals. Ian is a successful Melbourne-based businessman with extensive experience in retail management and retail property. He has previously been involved in the Priceline retail chain and, through his private investment vehicles, has been a long-term investor in the mining industry. Ian is also non-executive chair of Alliance Resources and Alkane Resources. Over to you, Ian.
Thank you, Courtney. Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me to be here in Kalgoorlie, presenting on behalf of Australian Strategic Materials, ASM. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connection to the land, sea and community. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. I'd also like to thank the Forum Chair Jim Walker and the Diggers and Dealers Committee for offering ASM the opportunity to present today. Slight formality, this is our disclaimer, which I encourage you to read through later. ASM is an emerging vertically integrated processor and supplier of strategic materials comprising rare earths, critical minerals and high-tech minerals. The company is headquartered in Perth and listed on the ASX in July 2000 at $1.25 per share. I am the chair, supported by a highly experienced and credentialised board of directors, as well as a talented and highly skilled executive management team. I'm very proud of the calibre of talent we have at ASM and the balance we've achieved across our leadership. As seen on the right-hand side of this slide, our capital structure is tight, with only 142 million shares on issue. Along with a large percentage of retail investors, I'm the major shareholder at 22% of the shares outstanding. I've been involved with the Dubbo Rare Earth and Critical Minerals project for many years, and I'm delighted that the project is moving forward, underpinned by the growing global recognition of the strategic needs for these materials. Rare earths and critical materials are vital inputs for a wide range of strategic and industrial applications worldwide, especially in the high-tech manufacturing and renewable energy industries such as electric cars and wind turbines. If we look at the global supply chain for rare earths depicted on the screen, we see the current global supply chain is heavily monopolised by one very large manufacturing nation and is therefore highly vulnerable to the risk of disruption. In turn, this carries significant risks for the value chain, particularly end users, who are effectively locked into a single source of supply. A number of countries, recognising the strategic value of these critical materials, are looking to secure long-term supply and are racing to build their strategic national stockpiles. It's clear, and alternative options are urgently needed to de-risk the global supply chain. The Dubbo project is here, ready, at the right time, in the right place. Put simply, there are 4 stages in the supply chain of rare earths: mining, separation and refining, metallisation and alloying, and rare earth magnet manufacture. The light blue slices of the circles on the screen reflect the dominance of China at each stage. Many resource companies globally are rushing to develop flow sheets to extract the rare earth concentrates and carbonates. This process generally takes 5 to 10 years. One well-known company, Australian company has gone further and built separation and refining capabilities, and I take my hat off to them. We also look to build a separation and refining facility at Dubbo. Another global bottleneck has been in the metallisation and alloying stage. Along with developing our Dubbo rare earths mine in the upstream and midstream, we have moved downstream into the metallisation and alloying with our Korean metal plant. Our vertically integrated mine to metals strategy is focused on two integral projects: our rare earths and critical minerals Dubbo project and our metal production plant in South Korea. Our Dubbo project, and you can see the photo on the left, is founded on a world-class polymetallic resource of heavy and light rare earths and critical materials, including zirconium, niobium and hafnium. The project is construction ready, with all major permits received, and ASM owns all the relevant land and water licences required. The Dubbo project will be developed to produce metal oxides in the forms of chemicals, powders and metals. For over a decade, we've worked with ANSTO to develop a proven flow sheet that optimises oxide recovery and will allow us to conduct processing on site. These oxides will be shipped to ASM's Korean metal plant for further processing, which will be discussed later in this presentation. The polymetallic nature of the Dubbo resource offers a diversified product suite, which de-risks exposure to a single commodity price variation. Output from Dubbo will be available in a range of standard and customised specifications based on the market requirements. The optimisation completed in December 2021 confirmed the project has strong technical foundations and robust economics. The study predicted that Dubbo could deliver an excellent outcome for our shareholders, with a forecast pre-tax IRR of 23.5%, which is a post-tax IRR of 20.1%. Based on existing ore reserves, the project will have a 20-year life of mine at a 1 million tonne per annum feed rate, but measured and inferred resources indicate the potential to extend the mine life for up to another 50 years, subject, of course, to the necessary approvals being granted. This year has seen ASM achieve several more milestones towards the development of Dubbo. Earlier in the year, we received $15 million of equity funding from the Korean-based KCF Energy. In June, we awarded a contract to Hyundai Engineering to provide engineering, procurement and construction definition work, EPCD, as outlined on this slide. The EPCD will allow Hyundai to produce an open book cost estimate to form the basis of an EPC offer to deliver the Dubbo project. We're very happy to have a corporation of the calibre of Hyundai join us in Dubbo. Long term, the materials produced from the Dubbo project will be used for refining into high-tech metals at ASM's proposed metal plants, the first of which has been built in South Korea in the Ochang Foreign Investment Zone, about 115 kilometres south of Seoul. Construction and installation activities at the plant were completed earlier this year, and in May we held an official opening ceremony supported by guests from key representatives of the Australian and Korean governments and business community. The opening was a particular testament to our team and contractors in Ochang, who, like many here today, have had to contend with disruptions and restrictions as a result of COVID and ongoing supply chain delays. The plant is now in phase 1 commissioning. Initially, it will produce neodymium and neodymium iron boron alloys for permanent magnets used in electric cars and wind turbines, and later may look to produce high-purity titanium used in 3D printing and the defence industry, zirconium and hafnium metals used in the semiconductor and other manufacturing industries, and niobium for use in high-strength steels and the automotive industry. I happen to have some permanent magnets with me today, so afterwards, come and see me to see what all the fuss is about. The ASM's Dubbo project and the Korean metal plant form the cornerstone and flagship for the ASM vision of a global, vertically integrated mine-to-metals business that can be an alternative, secure and environmentally responsible supplier of strategic metals to the world. The Korean metal plant is the first of the high-purity metal plants we intend to strategically locate around the world in areas close to end users. We're currently sourcing third-party oxides for our metal plant, which will be further supported with Dubbo oxides when the Dubbo facility is built. And we'll continue to collaborate with our third-party suppliers and work with end users to customise our metal products to suit their specifications. Important to talk about ESG. It's very clear that woven into the ASM story is a strong commitment to environmental stewardship through high ESG standards. ASM is targeting operational net zero, with management plans being developed for Scope 1 and Scope 2 carbon emissions, which include the use of renewable energy where possible. The Dubbo project also has initiatives in place to protect biodiversity, with large areas designated for the restoration and maintenance of native habitats, especially for threatened and endangered species such as the pink-tailed worm lizard, shown on the bottom left photo. We have a wholly owned subsidiary, the Tungai Pastoral Company, which conducts farming operations at the Dubbo site and manages these biodiversity offsets. ASM is also committed to establishing strong and positive relationships with communities where we operate. Recently, we partnered with the local Macquarie Anglican Grammar School to deliver their Macquarie Agricultural Pathways program, in which Year 7 students will conduct farm visits to Tungai Pastoral Company sites weekly and take part in day-to-day farming operations to develop skills necessary for future employment or studies. We're very proud of our connectivity to our local Indigenous community and invited Wiradjuri elder Peter Peckham from Dubbo to join us in Korea and conduct for the first time a smoking ceremony at our Korean metal plant opening ceremony. Peter talked to our Korean guests about the importance of the ceremony and his ancient Wiradjuri culture, which was warmly received by all present. As I reflect on all I've spoken of today, I'm truly grateful to be part of ASM and look forward to the year ahead. In doing so, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce ASM's newly appointed Chief Executive Officer, Rowena Smith, who is in the auditorium here today. Rowena was previously ASM's Chief Operating Officer. Rowena joins the leadership of ASM at a very exciting and crucial time, both for ASM and the global rare earths, critical minerals and high-tech markets. With ASM's vertically integrated mine-to-metals approach, from our Dubbo project in New South Wales to our Korean metal plant in Ochang Province, we have the capability to deliver an alternative, reliable and secure supply of strategic materials to governments and industry hungry for our products. Both Rowena and I thank you and look forward to seeing you over the coming days, and look forward to speaking with those of you that are interested in joining us to take up this opportunity. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Ian. We won't have time for questions. So that concludes the first half of the session. A big thank you to all the speakers for their great presentations. And I'll now hand you over to the next chair, Duncan St. John.